Today we're reviewing our September 2025 financials. Now we are one quarter through the fiscal year, and this is really the first relevant checkpoint we have. We have had several teacher payrolls now. That's the largest driver of expenses, so we can begin to use some of our predictive analytics. Compared to last month, our purchase services are reverting to the mean, and you'll see the graphic of that in just a few minutes. Our salaries and benefits are trending below budget. Part of that is because we haven't given any salary increases to any employee group yet. They've been budgeted for, but no one has actually received the increase. And as you recall, CISA 5 is our partner in providing analysis. They will be providing their first analysis in November. Our revenue summary, you can quickly see we haven't received much revenue to date. That is typical. So on our total revenues, we have received 2.65%. This again through September of all budgeted revenues. Our projection is 2.31. So we're ever so slightly ahead. Then you can see our local sources. Local sources are predominantly property taxes. Those aren't collected until the winter. So we don't expect to see any material dollar amounts, but we have received some state sources as expected. Now we're comparing last month's total revenues in Fund 10 and 27 to the current month. You might recall last month our revenues for that period of time were so low that they didn't even appear on the graph given the scale of the graph. We can see now that we're at least starting to visualize some of our revenues in Fund 10. And again, you can see here in Fund 27 so low that they don't even appear. Here's our revenues by source. So again, pay attention to the scale, right? We've only received around $3 million in total of a $100 million budget. In large part, we showed you that was coming from state sources. And you can see when we compare the orange line, which is our projected amount, with the blue line, our current amount, we're slightly ahead on our state sources. For instance, slightly behind in federal, but again, the scale is, such that it's not material amounts at this point. All right, on the expense side, here's where we begin to see the real predictive power of the tool. Through this point in time, we would have expected to have spent about 14% of our entire budget. We're at 13.2%, so slightly under budget or under projection through this point. That is predominantly in salaries and benefits, as I mentioned. And much of the reason for that is we haven't given raises yet. So when we give those raises, we're going to see the actual catch up to the budget. And you can see in all other objects, we're just about right on target here. Again, here's last month compared to this month. The key here, here's our total expenditures in Fund 10 and Fund 27. The long blue line is our budget. The gray line is our projected, and the orange line is our current. And what we're looking for is we want ideally the orange and gray, so the projection versus the actual, to be close. That tells us we're right on target. And you can see both last month and this month in totality, they're very close. And you can see if we were to blow this up ever so slightly, actually under trend, as I noted here, under trend. Here we're seeing that on a kind of a speedometer look, and this is what it looks like on a bar graph. Finally, here's our year-over-year financials. On the left-hand side of the screen is last year, so 24-25. On the right-hand side of the screen is this year, 25-26. If we're reading this from left to right, we have our prior year actual to date, so prior year through September. Our revenues are on the top. Our expenditures are on the bottom by major categories. And you can see last year at this time, we had received $1.5 million in revenue against a budget of $101 million. This year, we've received $3.4 million in revenue against a budget of $128 million. The big jump in our revenue has to do with primarily our operating referendum. So that is the main reason why our revenue has gone up, so significantly in total. On the expense side, we can see our total expenditures here versus total expenditures here. It looks like we had not yet budgeted our transfer at this point last year. And you can see that's the main reason for the big increase this year is that budgeted transfer. Finally, as far as trends go, now we're looking at where we project to end the year. So we've got our prior year to date, so where we were through September. And then in these blue is where we currently are. So we've currently spent about $16 million. Our analytics predict we're going to spend another $109 million. That will yield a predicted expenses of $126,170,000 versus a budget of just over $127 million, which at this point in time is projecting a positive variance of $987,000. Now remember, we expect that we will spend these salaries and benefits. Some of these are, we have the current variance because, again, we haven't given raises. So all that to say, this is very good news through this point in time, but I wouldn't expect we're going to end $1 million better than budget. I think we're going to end right around budget. And this is where we should be at this point.